marketing@wsncc.com or WhatsApp 6861662 and start building your future.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm not to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
of the game.
no.
Let's go to the last part.
Money is something we all deal with, but how many of us truly understand it? What if you could make better decisions with your money? Decisions that secure your future, protect your family, and bring you peace of mind. I'm Darren Jacobs, and I'm here to help you make sense of your dollars. Welcome to Dollars and Cents, the show that breaks down the financial world in ways that matter to you. No jargon, no confusion, just real conversations about money, your money. So join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on WESN for Dollars and Cents.
WESN.
Good morning and welcome to AM Prime on WESN. I am Takia Thompson, your host for our Talk It Out Tuesday show. This morning we begin with our Beyond the Headlines segment. While much attention has been given to maternity leave and the rights of working mothers, advocates say fathers have been left behind in the conversation surrounding parental rights. Currently, most fathers in Trinidad and Tobago are entitled to only a few days of leave following the birth of a child, a reality that the Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago believes no longer reflects the needs of modern families. The organization is now calling on both the government and the labor movement to champion legislation for 8 to 12 weeks of paternity leave. Fathers Association Trinidad and Tobago President Rondell Fields argued that fathers deserve the opportunity to be active participants in their children's earliest moments, and the stronger support for fathers can have lasting benefits for families and society as a whole. He joins us this morning. Good morning, Mr. Fields.
Morning, Takia. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Now, can you tell us, why do you believe that 8 to 12 weeks of paternity leave is necessary for fathers in Trinidad and Tobago?
I mean, apart from the gender equitable aspect of it, I mean, in the workplace, I mean, there's also research that specifies that meaningful paternity leave, meaning that multiple weeks, even months rather, has done wondrous things when it comes to the neurological changes in the mind of a man generally. Mm-hmm. This is backed by some research that we would have procured from the University of Southern California by Dr. Saxby, Dr. Cardenas. I always like to tell people that these are women that chose to do this research on the minds of fathers, and they realized based on their research that fathers that was given this substantial and extensive amount of time within that period, the neuroplasticity of the brain was actually altered, and that caused them to be better long-term fathers. One of the remarkable parts of the finding was this. The state, one of their proclamations was particularly this: fathers are made, fathers are not born. And I'm thinking it's the very same thing with the mothers as well. It's once you are allowed to be exposed to this particular type of brain training. This brain training, I mean, involves the cues from the baby. Some of the things that fathers aren't exposed to. The mother has an opportunity to be exposed to these things from the very prenatal stages. She could start, because the child develops within the womb, the mother starts having that emotional bond, that connectivity, and beyond that also the mother could have an idea of if something is wrong with the child, something isn't wrong with the child from those prenatal stages. The father, because of biological makeup, isn't afforded that opportunity, so his opportunity comes at the immediate postnatal stages. So it's more than just paternity leave, is more than just daddy wanting to be there for an emotional bond. It's actually brain training for daddy. So the presence of the child, the birth of the child, the experience of going through the good, the bad, the challenging with the child at that immediate postnatal stages actually does something to the mind of the man. That, in other words, helps him, or as is suggested by the research, makes him a better father for the entirety of the journey.
Wow, yeah. And in terms of the challenges that are currently facing men with the existing 2 to 3 day leave arrangement, what can you share with us based on those challenges?
All right. I mean, apart from the challenges, I mean, let me let you know what it is that men actually have. It's actually a policy. It's not even legislated, and it's actually a CPO directive for public servants more so than anything else. So it means that companies have to either develop a paternity leave policy or just they're not compelled to have any whatsoever. So you'll see many times many fathers are not given the opportunity for paternity leave, and if they are given the opportunity for paternity leave, it's very minuscule and very, very little paternity leave. Fathers, first of all, we spoke of the brain training, because I don't want to undermine that and make paternity leave only seem for the mother's benefit and the child's benefit. For the father's benefit, that brain training is essential, and he's not going to be able to be exposed to that. So that creates a challenge I perceive in the father's life generally and his journey of manhood. Secondly, as I alluded to, when it comes to the assistance of the mother, some women have C-section, some women have surgery, some women suffer from postpartum depression, and apart from all these challenges, some women sometimes just get exhausted and they need that help and that extra assistance there. It's also been shown that during that period, many men and women have their most trying and challenging times, sometimes that leads to actually separation and divorce. That's also research that has been done on separation and divorce and some of its causes as well. Then, additionally to that, the child needs the father, needs to also be able to have that bonding and emotional experience. So the father needs to adjust even to the scent of the father, the voice of the father. And yes, people may say, well, when daddy comes home, he could do those things. But when daddy comes home from a day of work, you know, based on what his work purview is. You don't know at that point in time if he could even assist the mother or wants to be able to spend time with the child. And I think this sets fathers at a great disadvantage, and it's about time that we stop telling fathers to step up and we start giving them the opportunity to, or giving them platforms rather, to step on in their journey of fatherhood.
Yeah, I like how you said that perfectly there. And along the lines, you've also mentioned that, you know, the parental rights or father's parental rights have been overlooked for decades. And you know, you're no stranger to sharing on this, but why do you think this issue has received so little attention?
I mean, generally, men's issues receive a little attention. So I would say it's just a subset of a greater problem, right? To be specific with this subset we're talking about, which is pertaining to fathers and why they're being left out, they're seen as secondary parents. The last time I was there, we spoke about the way that society views fathers, not as a parent, but more as a babysitter. And it shows by the way we encourage fathers in the lives of children. As I said, consider things like a father and a mother who's been separated and a father who is attempting to have access to the court. He is, or custody. From the time he applies to custody, he's just based on his gender, and we have the research to prove that he's twice less likely to be awarded custody, care, and control. So even if he then decides, all right, let me go for access of the child because I'm twice less likely to get custody, care, and control because of my gender. Even at that, the access that the precedent set for a non-custodial parent, which fathers most times are in a court battle, is 4 days a month. And then we talk about paternity leave, 2 to 3 days. So we have limited, and if we go even further, we could talk about even the prenatal stages or at the day of birth. Fathers are not allowed to be there in the public healthcare system while the mother is giving birth. So we have done very well from a national standpoint and a social standpoint to exclude men out of this entire fatherhood process. So it's a bit hypocritical to me when we ask them to step up, we ask them to be responsible, we ask them to hold themselves accountable, when I could hold the state accountable for all the things that I have just mentioned and show that the state in itself has been rather negligent when it comes to the pursuance or the encouragement of fathers spending meaningful time with their children from even before the birth. So, most definitely, it's something that I think it's a social reconstruct is required on the way that we view fathers, the way we view boys possibly, and the way we culture boys as well, the way we culture women as well, so that we see men and boys as critical and valuable components when it comes to the upkeep and the bringing up of children also.
Yeah. And have any discussions with, the policymakers or even government officials has been made on this proposal so far?
Oh boy, Takia. We have done every level of advocacy, and I like the fact that you asked these questions, and I will continue to answer them. As frustrating as it is sometimes, we've advocated on every level. We've advocated via the media, we've advocated via the social media, we've advocated via meetings, as you said, suggestion of policy with multiple ministers over multiple administrations. We've had consultations where we've invited these persons as well. We had the International Men's Day seminar very recently where we invited the head supervisor at Flow. Flow is one of the corporate companies that on their own volition issue fathers 8 to 12 weeks paternity leave. We had them there speaking about how beneficial and how valuable it's been to their workforce. We've been to the Joint Select Committee where we've had members of opposition and members of government that at that time they were reversed in their roles, make just Joint Select Committee recommendations to improve paternity leave. Since 2018, nothing has been done. We've lobbied, we've advocated, we've met on every single level. And we've met a plethora of excuses. And I think it's highly because men are seen as the work dogs. Men are seen as the driving force. So it's starting to worry me if we're starting to see men as a slave force, that men must only always contribute physically through their labor and not receive basic human rights for their service. And that's frightening. Yeah,
it is. And you did touch on it back, but as a society on the whole, how do we change that narrative, and recognize fathers are caregivers also, not just mothers?
Definitely, and I think I want to say it starts with research. Some of the research, like what I've brought forward, that shows the value and the importance of fathers being involved and what helps fathers to be better fathers, opposed to just telling our father, be a better father.
Right.
Look at doing research and formulating strategies into empowering fatherhood, assisting fatherhood, instead of downgrading it, instead of demeaning it, instead of promoting things that have people having the general perception that fatherhood is evil and fatherhood is bad and fatherhood doesn't exist, is non-existent,
right.
and all men cannot be good fathers. I don't know who has the research or the data that suggests there are more bad fathers than good fathers in our society. There's no research that backs that. What there is a lot of propaganda and false narrative. A lot of persons watching soap operas on television, a lot of people who've made bad choices generally, not only in fathers, but possibly in the males that they've chosen to have children with,
right.
making lamentations across that most times spoil the narrative on what father is, but there's no detailed, specific data that has been collected that said that we have more bad fathers than good fathers. So I think it's about, as I say, gathering research. I think it's about coming with strategic plans. I think it's about resensitization campaigns. I think it's about putting billboards out there that support fatherhood, putting messages on the television, the social media that highlights good fathers, the plethora of good fathers who've done the right thing and have supported their families and have taken care of their children and have good testimonies coming from their children of their service. That's what we need to put out there. But for some reason, what is good and what is sometimes even factual doesn't make it to the airwaves. And even when it makes it to the airwaves, people are very uninterested with it as well. So this calls for a national revamp, a national resensitization campaign or drive, but you need a government that actually sees the challenge, acknowledges the challenge, and takes it up.
Yeah. And along the lines of employers who may be looking in, what message would you give to the employers who may be concerned about that cost or the practicality of extended paternity leave to dads?
Exactly. I mean, we are two prongs we can look at it. First of all, we can look at it logically and sensibly, and I believe that businessmen are supposed to be sensible people. Paternity leave or any parental leave as it stands at this point, to me, is no incentivization to have children. You giving someone paternity leave for 3 months maximum is not going to encourage anybody to go and make more children when they realize they will be having to shoulder an 18-year-old financial, emotional, social, spiritual, mental duty. 3 months is a very short span in the life of a child. So I don't think there's any data also that the Ministry of Labor or any chamber of commerce could present to me that parental leave incentivizes persons to go and just make children rampantly and carelessly. So I don't think having a right for persons who actually end up in the situation is actually going to cause any real burden across cost, because it's not something I think that is powerful enough to incentivize wanton crazy and madness. Then business people need to also understand and also be well researched when it comes to the impact of fathers in the lives of their children from the immediate postnatal stages and all these other places. I talked about the neuroplasticity of the brain changing for the father to be there, be a better father, and we all have research on fatherless homes and the way it churns out criminals and young minds with criminal intent. And we need to sometimes understand that bad social behavior called crime could be disastrous for businesses. One, they will plunder your business, they will rob your business, and two, if crime is just existent in the very space that your business is located, it causes your business to go down. People don't want to pass through the area for them to come and patronize with your business. Then the value of your land, the equitable value of your land and your property and your business automatically, just because of crime, will go from 100 to 0. That is the kind of economical impact that crime has on business. So business persons should be up and ready to support an initiative like this, because if it keeps crime down, it's good for the daily running of their business and for the long-term equitable value and economic value of their business. And also, we must also, as I said, apply logical and reasonable thinking and not also be carried away with false narrative. I don't think reasonable people or most people will go and be carried away to go and have plenty more children than they budgeted for just because you deciding to give them paternity leave. Women have had maternity leave for years, yet if you go into a number of small business establishments, jewelry stores, clothing stores, furniture stores, there are the mass majority of the staff in those places are women, and we haven't heard small businesses complaining about a woman getting pregnant every week. You understand? So I think there are some places where you have had a person possibly given 20 years of service to establishments and had 1 pregnancy, 30 years of service and had 2 pregnancies, if so much. And I think 6 months leave out of 30 years service, or 20 years service, or 10 years service, I think is a very fair trade-off for any businessman, me being a businessman myself.
Right. And now to even sticking, how would you respond to those who believe fathers don't need as much time as mothers?
And that is the nice part. I love the word you used, belief. And belief is something that is subjective and individual. And your belief system most time is based on what you've been exposed to or what you've been traumatized by. If we were to allow belief to dictate or rather withhold a member of our society from their human right, we must then reflect on if we had done this in the days of bigotry, when I'm pretty sure those who were bigotous were against and had thoughts of colored persons, which when I say color, I mean Afro and Indo, would have had thoughts that empowering them to work would have created a problem. I'm pretty sure those persons who had those bigotous thoughts as well would have had an issue of women becoming employed. Can we imagine if we allowed those persons who had their thoughts and beliefs to trump what was reasonable and good? So when it comes to belief, I don't think belief is enough. An individual's belief is enough to say that we should deny someone a human right because they believe they're going to go in the rum shop and drink, or they believe that a day they will take the paternity leave and do something else. As I said, most of our beliefs are based on our experiences and our traumas. And most persons that have that belief would be persons who have not experienced responsible fatherhood in their lives. They may not have had a father and have seen a father being responsible, or they may have been in a acrimonious breakup and they themselves are traumatized by the entire parental experience. So belief is not, I don't think belief is a solid ground that could stand either socially or stand in any court of law if this ever has to go to a court of law when it comes to inequitable practices by the government, if it is legislated in an inequitable manner.
Right. And now, if this were, if this legislation were to pass, what impact do you hope it would have on future generations of fathers?
I mean, most definitely. I most definitely believe it will improve the level of fatherhood, as I just spoke about the neuroplasticity of the brain. I don't want us to undermine the scientific research at all. I believe it will create for children greater memories to have that level of involvement in the father's life. I believe also that it will give even men and their wives greater memories and build greater family bond, because they're going to have greater and more experiences that they shared together, particularly during a trying time. I'm telling you, one of the most frustrating part of marriage or a relationship, if you ask persons, is when they go through that pregnancy and when one person is left to shoulder mass majority of all the responsibility, while the other one is allegedly out there earning income and earning a bread and shouldering another type of responsibility. Together is where this needs to come in. Together is where they need to be able to have this bond and to be able to I mean, raise their family together. We need to reach to a position where we understand that we have to be able to promote a pro-family life and stop talking about be a better family, fathers stay together, mothers stay together. We, at the national level, those our leaders at the national level, need to start leading by example and saying that we are going to do this for the sole purpose of the benefit of the family. We see a society where men and women are becoming separated and single parentage is the new norm. And we now realize that this is not the goal. And we have to find a way to keep families together, and that should be one of the ways of doing so. Trying to put families in spaces where they could support each other and they could build and develop bonds. And I think by having legislative works that keep fathers and mothers so grossly connected or so intimately involved in the upkeep of their children from the immediate postnatal stages will have long social benefit in every aspect we look at it. Whether when it comes to it will impact domestic violence, to me I believe it will impact. When it comes to families staying together, I believe it will impact. When it comes to keeping young people out of criminal behavior, coming out of strong based, strong rooted families. So I think the social impact will go far and wide. And I mean, as I just explained, social impact will definitely have a positive economical impact also.
Yeah. And lastly, Mr. Fields, I must ask, what are the next steps for the association in advocating for these changes?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we can make a next step again, and the only other thing I have to do is to try to fly after this, because as I told you, we've lobbied on every level. I mean, if I think that something inequitable is passed, as we have mentioned and alluded, both to the media and to the minister himself, and I've also mentioned this to the AG, our final step would be to go to the courts, even if it means going as far as the Privy Council, and we've already brought to their attention precedents that have been set in a case in South Africa, where a group of men did the very same thing. The state gave them 10 days paternity leave and mothers had 4 months, and they were then able to procure judgment on their national courts that made it equitable, because the judge ruled that it was unfair and it was gender bias and prejudice for fathers' contribution to not be considered in the very same way as mothers' contribution was.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Fields, for coming on and being a part of the conversation. As always, very informative and timely with what you have to share. And I do hope that persons looking on can really pull from what you have been sharing, what you've been saying, and try to make that change wherever and however they can by just starting something, you know?
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Guys, we are about to take a short break, and when we come back, we have more engaging conversations, so stay with us.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
Trinidad and Tobago, get ready for a musical explosion of freedom, culture, and pure steel band magic.
Featuring 5 of the nation's super bands, plus their talented youth bands.
Get ready for Generations of Steel,
the ultimate celebration of our national instrument.
Featuring 5 of the nation's super bands, plus their talented youth band.
Experience the power and passion of Desperados,
Shell Invaders,
Massey Trinidad All-Stars,
First Citizens Supernovas,
and the pride of the South, Fun Clear. Saturday, July 11th
at the iconic Grandstand, Queen's Park, Savannah.
And hear this one. First 800 tickets sold. Admit 2 buses on 1 ticket if bought by Saturday, June 27th.
Presented by Super Panman, Dane Gulston and Friends.
Supported by CCNTV 6, The Express Newspaper, and I-95.5 FM.
Generations of Steel, the biggest pan event after Panorama.
So once your sugar is not controlled, it causes changes in the blood vessels in the back of your eyes. It basically makes your blood vessels more leaky. And it happens on a stage process where the smaller molecules start to leak, then the intermediate, and then the larger ones. Larger means we have come to a bleed.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey results match. Don't be fooled by jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
Are you driven, ambitious, and ready to earn? WESN, the content capital, is expanding, and we're looking for dynamic media sales executives to join our team. Sell powerful advertising solutions across television, digital, and social media platforms, and help brands tell their story. If you have strong communication skills, a passion for sales, and the drive to succeed, join WESN today. Send your CV to marketing@wsncc.com or WhatsApp 6861662 and start building your future.
In this day of stay-at-home and work from home, home has never meant more than it does today. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or build your new home, now is the time to get going. Gittins & Gittins real estate agents are here to take you to that place of your dreams. Let us take you home. We help you find that rental to rest along the way or journey with you to find your home destination. Investors and commercial enterprises too, call us and we'll walk the distance to place your business in just the right location. Owners, leave the headaches to us. We'll find your tenants or buyers while you stay at home. We'll even manage your property at your bidding. Anything real estate, come home to Gittins & Gittins Real Estate. Call us at 760-3280 or 747-1220 or visit us at 16 Fifth Street in Woodbrook.
Welcome back. Moving ahead with our Ask the Expert segment. Behind every image is a story. But for Keisha Edwards, those stories became a pathway to healing. What began as media ministry, passion, grew into Born to Shoot Studios, a vision born through grief, faith, and purpose. For Mr. Edwards, the camera has never just been a tool, but a space where brokenness meets restoration and where every day people find their voice through storytelling. This morning, we have Miss Keisha Edwards in studio with us to share her journey of Born to Shoot Studios. Good morning, Keisha.
Good morning, good morning. Thanks for having me on this morning. It's a pleasure to be here to do what I love to do best, share stories. But now I'm in front of the camera.
See,
yes,
that's just how it happened. So. Yeah. Everybody wants to know what inspired you to start Born to Shoot Studios and how did your journey in media ministry shape that vision?
So it came from generations. So my great-grandmother liked photos, my mom liked photos. I like to capture them. So I was the one to now take the vision to the different sides. So I was always there with my mom liked to dress up. She said, Kisha, take a picture of me now. Kisha, take a picture of me. And that just formed into, you know, coming into this whole person that I'm evolving today.
Yeah. Wow. And you mentioned that the business was birthed through grief. So can you share with us on that journey and how did it really impact, you know, your purpose and even the direction in heading towards things?
So the business was birthed in 2016 when I now turned 30. And but on my 29th birthday, which is my golden birthday, my mom said to me, if Kisha could put a little within herself, she will reach well far. 365 days right after the business birthed on June the 29th. And yeah, so from that, I just take that little, what she said, even though she has said a lot of things to me over the years, I know that this time she was meaning for like, Kisha, go into your path. Because she realized that I always like giving persons, investing in persons' time. And then she realized that I was just getting empty because I was carrying a lot of persons' burdens. And even though it was good, but she just wanted to make sure that I find my path. So that's just how that started.
Wow. And at what point did you realize storytelling was more than media? You know, you shared that a moment with a coworker helped shift your perspective. So can you take us back to that and, you know, share a bit on how that conversation went?
So media ministry was after water baptism. I knew that this was a ministry that God called me into. Not many persons saw it, so I was rejected from the moment I approached the ministry. Because I know it was like a kind of man, kind of vibes, but I know. And that was the first time I actually identified the voice of God when he said, who sent you there? So I had to stay there. Take all the licks, but I had to stay there. And during all of that, I think that was roughly like about 17 years into the media ministry, pandemic came. And I believe that storytelling, I always have a story to tell. My mom used to say, Kisha need her time. So even though we live together, she would say, give Kisha her time because she needs to tell you the story from the get-go to the bottom. And it's just, you know, and I'm very passionate with words. And so storytelling was always inside of me. So when it comes to the pandemic, the business was already birthed. We were going out there to capture love and all of these things because we wanted to build a platform through weddings. And however, pandemic came and the lockdown came. And that in itself was devastated. So the 3 months we were there, I enjoy myself at home because I get to be with family, loved ones, and all of these things. So when we went back out to work, the co-worker asked me how it was. I said, it was amazing. And then she was like, well, I was depressed. I was this. And she was expressing herself from a sad perspective. I said, well, I don't know what that experience was. And she said, well, you know, you're always happy. And I was like, no, I was grateful that I got so much time to spend with family because we have not done this in some years. And with that, she's like, wait. And from that, God said to me, the love for family has decayed. And with that, I started this journey into where I am today.
I love that you were able to, it's the littlest moments that happen to just shape out or paint a bigger picture in the end. And can you tell us, how do you define healing through the lens? Now, in practical terms, when you're, you know, filming someone's story. So just, explain that for us.
So God gives us an eye to see the good in persons. And oftentimes persons will wear this mask, so most of the time they can't really see the good person. So they will put on a mask to be received. And when they put on that mask to receive, they are feeding persons from a dry place. So when pandemic came, I saw that a lot of us were wearing masks physically. But God actually showed me before the mask came. And I was with someone and I was telling them that you actually wearing a mask, and if you remove your mask, persons is going to love you the way you ought to be loved. Every time I share this, I get teary because we so have to feed persons from an empty place, and God wants us to be filled with His Holy Spirit so that we'll be able, when we pour from, not from an empty cup, but from that place of love. Yeah. And I just happy going about saying, well, this is what God wants me to do. I got my camera, I get my gears, I organize myself. Of course, because I'm a woman, it was difficult for me to get by on the other side. So I had to ask God, you send me here to send the people. Right. So whoever He sent, I did not judge them. This is who you're using, Father, to take me to the next level. Yes. So here I am. So I will just go through Facebook, just like a normal Facebook macro. And I will see persons and I will reach out to them, and God will give me a topic and I will reach out to them and ask them if they could speak on this topic. Don't know the person from nowhere, and they will say yes to this space, and I will just allow them to come and sit down and talk about the topic. And then I saw the emotions came, and it was like, how do you know that I was going through this? Well, it's less of me and more of Him. I said, God, just show me, and I just answered the call.
Wow. Now, I feel like in each of your responses, it would have been answering this next question, but I'm still going to ask it. Yes. So how has your faith guided you through both grief and even your entrepreneurship journey?
I believe that we are born to multiply. My mom always taught us about getting your own. So even working for persons for 18 years straight, I always say one less day for me to get my own. Right. So I always go into, today's one less day, Keisha, to get your own. Today's one less day to get your own. And when it came, and Born to Shoot is the baby that caused all of this, because it's not just one business we carry a few business on hand. Yeah. So Born to Shoot was actually the one that birthed into becoming a full-time entrepreneur and just allowing the Holy Spirit to really do. So if you asked me this 10 years ago, I will say I would have not known how to program it, but it's actually just getting up and making a step. Yes. So that is just basically, and these steps are ordered by God. Yeah. So wherever He sends me, I actually take it, and spending time in the secret place, I know we will get to that soon. That is what caused me to be so consistent and, obedient as well to evolve into this moment here.
And can you share with us a bit what kinds of stories have impacted you the most while behind the camera?
So this one is really teary because scars is something that persons wear, spiritual scars. Yeah. And when I saw that this is not just me capturing stories, was when I gained my strength through my scars. And the person that did it was Faith Santana 5 feet, and when she started to speak, I was like, this is not just what I expected, God. And I remember that time when I filmed that story. There was a lot of obstacles, and I didn't know that she was carrying all of this. She was very lonely on the inside. Her story was very deep. And she said, I didn't know that someone would have loved me. I always get teary because that was me. Yeah. But I couldn't go in front of the camera at the time, so I said, God, if I can go send the people. So her story was actually one of the most beautiful stories that I carried over the years, because I had a lot of scars, and I know that God is healing us through our scars, and our scars is to tell the story to let us know that He is still in the healing business.
Absolutely. Now, continuing along with, stories and how you would have captured it, have you ever filmed a story that, changed your own personal outlook on life or, healing? And I think you touched on it, but just, another pinpoint.
Yeah, so one of it was embracing life changes. Embracing life changes is actually the changes after my mom passed away. That was a very difficult, and still today is a difficult change to embrace. Getting up every day to a place, even though that we are home in the house, it still feels empty. Unlocking the door and seeing there's nobody there to greet you with your own story for your 24 hours is very difficult. So I had to embrace that change in a sense that I know that she's not here, but the loneliness, God is the one that is going to always fill that loneliness. Yeah. So that is one of the things that is one of the stories that actually is my go-to actually in this season of my life as we prepare for our next, embracing every changes that come and making sure that I answer it, but I answer it on a second breath. Sometimes when we answer it on the first breath, we will see the wrath of man. Yeah. But when we answer it on the second breath, we will see the love of the Holy Spirit. So I would say, here what? Right at this point in time, I'm not able to answer you, but I want to come back to answer you in love so that we will be able to understand each other. I'm not upset with you, but I'm upset with the situation that causing us to be like this. And I pray and hope that when we come that we understand each other. And once we understand each other, I'll be able to know that we will be, both of us will be safe on the other side. So that's basically what it is.
Wow. Now, can you tell us a bit about the NGO, the Pure Heart Secret Place segment community, and what is its core mission?
So NGO actually, our NGO actually is, we got it registered a couple of weeks ago because, thank you very much, I was lost of what NGO was, and because we had to go funding our conferences in a couple of days, and we had to facilitate funds. I didn't know that we had to do it out of our NGO. Yeah. So we did not get the permission until we get the NGO. So I was like, okay, yeah, NGO. So after I get a name, I'm very big with names, and Secret Place is my go-to. So I was trying to see if I could just transit it into that where that you don't have to confuse the media, because we want to shoot a secret place, you know? Yes. So I was like, God help me out here to get it into our way. And I don't want, if I am in the way, God, and you have a name for us, Father, you know, still give us the name. That journey was 3 hours sitting down there putting, because to get the NGO registered, we had to have all different sorts of names. Oh my gosh, it was excited. So my sister and my business partner, Brenzel, we were there on the phone and we talking to find a name. Yeah. And it was a happy love because I like love. And then I said, Pure Heart Secret Place Community. And so my friend Brenzel was like, Kisha, you always talk about pure hearts. Wow. Pure heart it is. So, yeah, we get pure heart. But to say that's something that I was looking out for, to be honest, like, no, we just prepare because we need to get our stuff in order and want to make sure that we govern all the laws that is needed to go to the other side. Yeah. So that is what it was. Wow. But however, persons started to tell me about NGOs. She said, Kisha, what you're doing before is actually an NGO, you know. Yeah. It just wasn't registered. Yeah. So now, I take all my babies and then I put it into this NGO, which is really a pure heart, because that's just how we operate. I operate from a pure heart. If I'm not talking to you out of pure love, then I'm not speaking to you. Wow. So I'm asking God each and every time to purify my heart, Lord, so that I can see what you see, so that I could be able to move forward. So that's it, just come into my hands just like that.
Well, look at that, Kisha. Wow. And tell us a bit more of that Secret Place conference. So tell us, what does it mean to you personally and spiritually, and how does it affect everyone who has encountered the space so far?
So Secret Place is actually, when I was 7 years old, as I tell you, I have a story for everything. When I was 7 years old, I got this dream of a pony. I was in this place with a pony, and you know a pony have colors and all of these things. So I saw this white pony and nice colors, and I following this pony, running around, this little girl following this pony. And I kept that little story within my heart for quite a while. And I think at the age of 21, God said to me, God help me, because I would always be teary because it feels new. He said, Kisha, that pony was me. And in order to get your attention, I had to come into the form of a And that is just how Secret Place started.
Wow. Wow. You see, your tagline speaks about evolving together as a community. So can you just elaborate on that part?
Oftentimes we enter into spaces and one man eats and everyone is hungry. Right. So evolving together, everyone eats. Wow. So that's just like the boy with the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes. He could have taken the 2 loaves and cried to his family, but he presented to the Father for multiplication. So everybody was fed. So we are creating a community where all of us could evolve together. I'm just the person sitting in the seat for a minute, but allowing persons that come to us that will always be fed, always will be seen, valued, and heard. So that is just how we are building our community evolve together.
Wow. And I do believe you did touch on this, but maybe just to elaborate some more, what impact do you hope, you know, the Secret Place, well, it's a movement now, yes, so the movement will have in Trinidad and Tobago and even beyond?
I strongly believe that persons will want persons to sit with them.
Yeah.
Despite of the negativity that goes on around persons, there's always a positive side. And you just need that person to sit with you. When you sit with you and you could draw that out of them and draw it out of love, I strongly believe that you will hear more persons saying, I want to be loved and I want to be able to love persons. So this is what it is. I strongly believe over the years, just not knowing that it's ministry, just doing Keisha style. Hey, how you doing? Come, let's vibes, huh?
Yeah.
And I see this ministry, I said, but God, you're not easy. You just cultivated me right here. So I strongly believe that once that person is seen, heard, and valued, as someone said to me recently, people go where they are loved. Yes. Sometimes they end up into the wrong space of love, but that's what love means to them. Yeah. But if it is we teach them the agape love, I strongly believe that you will see more persons smiling and you will see less person being angry. So that is what we are praying and hoping, that when it is we come and to evolve through this conference and through our movement, that we'll be able to really sit with persons and to let them know that ownership is yours. Having a foundation is very good to persons living to leave a legacy, just like my mom lived to leave a legacy, that I will be able to live to leave a legacy through my children. I have none yet, but my sisters, my niece and my nephews and them, because I see that where the love that they needed, I was able to give them as an auntie, because I love them dearly.
Aww.
Yes, as no babies, even though they're big now, but there's no babies.
Don't worry, they understand that they're still your baby.
I hope so too.
Now, can you share, where do you hope to see Born to Shoot Studios and the community work that you do in the next 5 years?
I see, it's a secret, I don't.
Well, give us a little bit, if not all of it.
I see us as spreading the good news of God.
Yeah.
Underneath Born to Shoot, because it is the one that, Born to Shoot is the business that helped us reach where we are today. Yes. So I always go back to the foundation. So I was born to do this, not to shoot people, but shoot their stories. So the persons, when they ask about the business and I said Born to Shoot, sometimes I just forget, you know, so much of things going around. But I said, I come in love, so I am going to be able to embrace you in love. So I want to be able to see more persons live into their authentic self, be valuable, and make sure that the gift that God placed inside of them, they identify it and allow it to grow, to make sure that they search for their 1,000 on the field.
Wow.
Yeah.
And definitely not the last one, but last but not least, you know, if someone watches one of your productions years from now, what feeling or message do you want them to walk away with after viewing something you've captured?
Based on the topic, I want them to see the authentic, like, so let us say, be your own beautiful. Yeah. There's beauty within inside of yourself. So once we give the tagline of the topics or whichever one, like healing is here. Mm-hmm. I gain my strength through my scars, patient in waiting, bruised but not broken. Yeah. So all of these things, they know from the moment that we speak the word, that we will be able to know, because the word is a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your pathway. From when the moment we say it, and whatever comes out of our mouth might not just be me, but might be Brenzel or someone else that God is cultivating to be into this space, that person, it could resonate into that person so that they will be able to have strength to go forward. From years to come, they could always go back, because even when I do my production, I will go back and it will still minister to me like I never did it before. Wow. So it does impact me still today, going back into these chapters of my life and seeing the Holy Spirit been healing me throughout the journey.
Wow. And now let's talk about the upcoming conference. that is happening. Can you share a bit on it, share what inspired it, and give us the date and the time?
So knowing your truth in your secret place. Yeah. The word knowing. Once you know, then you will do something. When you don't know, then there is nothing for you to do. So knowing is very important. So knowing your truth in your secret place. Sitting here with you, all I said was my truth. Whether I said it in pain, whether I said it in love, I tell my truth. It's up to you to believe me, but you know you are telling your truth because you will, when it is you tell a lie, your body will shift into a direction. When you tell the truth, your body will shift. So you want your body to shift into your knowing. So this conference is letting you know that you are telling your truth. Whether you tell it in pain, whether you tell it in joy, you are telling your truth. So God has cultivated this space through the podcast over the years, through doing Lent, through ministry. As I said, I was just sent by God, and I allow Him to evolve. Yes, a conference was in the back of my mind, but I know it's a big task to follow. Yeah. But God just slipped this into us, because it's not myself, slipped this into us and said, Keisha, start a conference. No lifeguard jacket, no nothing, just show us out in the deep, and we had to figure ourselves. So yeah. This conference now is our second conference because we had it last year. We learn a lot, still learning. And yes, so it's June 28th and 29th. On the 29th is actually birthday of Born to Shoot. It literally is going to be 10 years. Wow. Born to Shoot is here. And I think 7 years Secret Place is here. And now we has evolved. Now we own our NGO that we are going forward.
Wow.
Yes.
So with knowing your truth in your secret place, can you give us the time and the location and how we can, you know, be a part of this?
So knowing your truth in your secret place, it is a 2 days conference, June 28th and 29th of June at the Nales Library in Port of Spain. It has 5 p.m. And our guest speakers are Dalison Charles and Annalise Murray. Both of them has been a tremendous artist in my life over the years. Wow. They were very surprised that God has chosen them for this journey because I really surprised 2 of them. And because I know that God liked good things, we want to put on a very good production. Yeah. So of course, being in ministry, seeing certain persons do certain things, taking pieces from persons all over the world, and bringing my own style into it because of colors and all of these things. We prepare a very nice, intimate space. Can't give out too much because the conference is there. It's $300 to come to the conference. The conference is an investment. It's an investment to letting you know that you are seen, you are loved, and you are valued. So you are worth more than the $300, but it's just a start for you to go forward to let you know that this community, you could come in and have a seat because most persons ask what secret place is about. I would just ask them to come and have a seat and let God do the rest. So that's basically how we operate. Yeah.
And is there a contact or socials that you'd like to give out so persons can reach out, you know, if they're looking on and they are interested, they want to be a part of that experience and that intimate exposure that you can't give away too much on. Yes. Can you give us some numbers and the socials to go with?
So our number is 491-2448 and 399-0915. On our social media, we now switch for our TikTok to Pure Hearts Community because that's our NGO. Yeah. But on Instagram and Facebook, we are still under our company, Born to Shoot Studios. We just allowing these because there's a lot of pages that we have. So all the handles is actually under Born to Shoot Studios. And we're just trying to see how God navigated to all the other platforms. We have on YouTube as well, it is Born to Shoot Studios. So we have our podcast, so we will be starting back soon in order to make sure that, you know, we stay consistent at this journey.
Yeah. So thank you, Keisha, so much for coming on this morning.
I appreciate that.
And being a part of the conversation. It was very insightful, very motivational as well. I'm sure persons looking on, you know, they're looking at you and they're saying, yeah, if Keisha is doing it, I could probably step out. Yes, if Keisha is telling stories, yes, I could probably tell stories. Yes. So it's truly commendable with what you're doing, and I pray God, you know, really continues to use you in your light and continue to further what you have planned, and His plans for your life is always greater, so continue to trust Him with it. And thank you again so much for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure to share a little here. This is just how it is when we enter into secret. A little snippet.
A little snippet.
A little snippet. Yes.
Thank you for the snippet, Keisha.
No problem.
Guys, as we are about to take a short break, we hope that you stick with us for more engaging conversations, and we'll be right back.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage. And we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region. Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
The home of Caribbean content is growing, and we welcome you to be a part of the #1 platform for young personalities who are driven to make a positive impact in society. As we continue to reach every corner of Trinidad and Tobago through our daily broadcasts, our social media pages, or through our 75+ digital billboards across the nation, contact us to learn about our competitive rates via marketing at wesncc.com or call us at 628-5835. WESN Content Capital, television with a difference.
So once your sugar is not controlled, it causes changes in the blood vessels in the back of your eyes. It basically makes your blood vessels more leaky. And it happens on a stage process where the smaller molecules start to leak, then the intermediate, and then the larger ones. Larger means we have come to a bleed.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm not to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
of
not
Let's go to the last part.
Hi, I am Emiliana Beechan, and I am a mental health and conflict resolution consultant. Welcome to Mind Matters, the show where we explore the intricate world of mental health and the art of conflict resolution. Join us as we hear from mental health professionals, conflict resolution experts, and everyday people who have transformed their lives through understanding and communication. Mind Matters, WESN Content Capital.
Trinidad and Tobago, get ready for a musical explosion of freedom, culture, and pure steel band magic.
Featuring 5 of the nation's super bands, plus their talented youth bands.
Get ready for Generations of Steel,
the ultimate celebration of our national instrument.
Featuring 5 of the nation's super bands, plus their talented youth band.
Experience the power and passion of Desperados,
Shell Invaders,
Massey Trinidad All-Stars,
First Citizens Supernovas,
and the pride of the South, Fun Play. Saturday, July 11th.
At the iconic Grandstand, Queen's Park, Savannah.
And hear this one. First 800 tickets sold. Admit 2 buses on 1 ticket if bought by Saturday, June 27th.
Presented by Super Panman, Dane Galston and Friends.
Supported by CCNTV 6, The Express Newspaper, and I-95.5 FM.
Generations of Steel, the biggest pan event after Panorama.
Welcome back. Moving forward with our Beyond the Headline segment, at a time when digital content is increasingly competing for people's attention, one organization is hoping to rekindle a love for books while creating new opportunities for local writers. The Aruka Soul Kitchen Authors Village will bring together authors from across the nation from a day of literary engagement, networking, and storytelling on June 27th at Wilson Field in Aruka from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Vice Chairperson Prudence Williams-Laborde says the initiative aims not only to provide a platform for writers to showcase their work, but also to encourage greater appreciation for reading, literacy, and Caribbean literature. She joins us this morning. Good morning, Prudence.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. Thank you for this amazing opportunity.
Absolutely. So can you tell us how did the idea for this event came about, and what gap is trying to be filled within the local literacy community?
So the whole concept of the Author Village came about because as an organization, Aruka Soul Kitchen, we're focused on, community, people development, and also, local entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. Based on, the UN Sustainable Development Goal of education, that's one of our big areas of focus. So last year we completed, our All About You Girls Workshop, which was amazing. And this year we thought it best to focus more on literacy through community engagement. Yeah. And I am an author myself, an author of 2 books, and having that perspective that there's never enough spaces for authors, particularly Caribbean authors, we grabbed on the opportunity to do so. In April, I think it was the UN's World Book and Copyright Day. Mm-hmm. And, we said we want to continue on that momentum to create a space for authors and to celebrate their work and also give them an opportunity to meet the public.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what can visitors, expect when they attend the village, but also what challenges do writers in Trinidad and Tobago face when, and even, trying to gain that visibility for connecting the community with readers?
So the first challenge with authors is visibility.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, as an author myself, I had to change that mindset that, I just wrote the book and the book would sell itself. People would find out about the book.
Right.
But me even being on social media was because of my book, because I've recognized the importance of just being visible. And if persons don't know about your book, then how would the message, because, your book is a powerful message. It's already etched in the fabric of the universe, and people need to know about it.
Yeah.
So visibility is one of the main issues that authors face. And our hope, and my hope, is that this is a platform for the authors, and because it's, you know, the author and the community, it's a space even for the community to fall in love with reading again. So what can visitors expect? Visitors can expect to enjoy the beauty of Wilson Field because it's an outdoor event. You know, most of the times now we like to be more on the indoors, but this is an author village with a difference. It's in a beautiful outdoor setting. We're going to be having eats and drinks for sale. Part of the agenda would include authors getting the opportunity to read a little bit about their books, from their books, and to tell us about their books, to build that engagement. So it's not only an opportunity to get a sale, right, but the return on investment for the authors is that persons would get to know about them. We want people to just enjoy this space. You know, we want to create a little reading section, so persons could sit and relax and read and, you know, just, you know, walk around, engage the authors, ask them about their journey, ask them about their services, ask them about their books.
Yeah. I know you did touch on this, but, you know, I'm still going to ask you to elaborate a bit more in terms of how does that direct interaction between author and reader benefit both parties?
That interaction, it helps the book become real. It puts a face to the book, you know? Sometimes we see books on the shelves, we go into the library, we go into a bookstore, sometimes failing to realize that somebody actually influenced the creation of this book. Now, while, you know, we're in the era of AI and AI is doing a lot with writing, even books at this point in time, but there's still somebody behind there with a vision. So meeting the author helps the book comes alive, and it also brings a little bit of context and relevance. So, you know, even with my book, The Everyday Leader, when persons read it and then they meet me, it's like, oh, okay, it makes sense. And then they ask questions and, you know, it brings that clarity. What was the meaning behind The Everyday Leader? You know, so it helps really close that gap, and it doesn't make the book and the author feel distant.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the event also aims to promote literacy. So do you believe reading habits have changed because of social media and even digital platforms?
Yes. So, I mean, now, as I tell my clients, because I'm also a life coach, you know, we go through the whole doom scrolling, and if a video is more than a minute or two, we move past quickly because, you know, it's like a dopamine shot, right? We just want quick information, and we're all guilty of that, this microwave society and mindset, right? And because of that, reading has become more of a utility. Holding that physical book, it almost feels a little bit of the past, right? But what I've realized is that reading and literacy is never out of style. To me, it's a life skill, but we have to approach it with intention. And once we have these spaces to do that, it reinforces the importance of reading. It reinforces the importance of, you could put on the phone for just 5 minutes. Or even if you want to read and take a selfie, that's okay, right? But it just helps us put reading with a little more intention.
Yeah, absolutely. And how can initiatives like, you know, the Authors Village encourage children, young people, and even adults to engage in reading more?
Again, once there's the opportunity and the intention behind it. I mean, while I showed my physical book just now, one of the authors who will be at the village, an amazing writer of fictional stories. I mean, one of the books he shared with me recently is with this young boy from Moruga with a dream to play football, international football. And his books are all digital, by the way. But it was so captivating that it doesn't matter whether it's physical or digital. And I love that he has his book and he's going to be having the screens to show the books and whatnot to capture that young audience who may not always want the physical, but they have the digital, and yet it still fulfills the need of reading and literacy and captivating the audience and taking them on a journey through words.
Yeah.
You know, reading helps with the imagination, it helps with retention, you know, it helps with just thinking, you know. So I want persons to really embrace the importance of reading in what you call it, a non-traditional way. We're not in a library, we're not in a room, we're outdoors, you're getting to engage the people behind the book. You know, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, it definitely did. It definitely did, and gave us a bit more to add in. So that was really good. Thank you. And
yes, I'm very passionate.
and that's what we need for communities like this. Persons who are passionate enough to, you know, take that initiative to create spaces, which is important. Why would you say, you know, it's important for readers to engage with Caribbean and local literature? Also, what unique perspectives do local authors bring to the literary landscape?
I think what's important about local is that we are local.
Right.
And with local books, it just makes information more relatable. It's more relevant. It's tied to the fabric of our society.
Yeah.
You know, like going back to that fiction book, The Little Boy from Aruka. When I started to read, I'm like, oh my gosh, because I'm a South girl, right? And it just felt so homely. You know, when I read about the boy's background and he wants to play football to get out of poverty, it makes it feel real and relevant.
Yeah.
Local authors provide a local flavor that you would never get anywhere around the world. And, you know, local authorship is a real unique selling point for our country. You could go to Jamaica, Jamaican authors are different to Trinidadian authors. St. Lucian and St. Vincent authors are different to Trinidad authors. We all have, yes, there may be some similarities, but there's a uniqueness about our local authorship that really makes a difference. Local writing, you know, when you think about the V.S. Naipaul, when you read his books, you just know you're in Trinidad, you know? So that flavor, it really adds, it makes a difference, rather. Yeah.
And how can supporting local authors help preserve local stories and even cultural identity?
I mean, the question in itself actually answers it. It really preserves our culture in a time where, you know, we're so bombarded with international media, what's going on in the US, the UK, other parts of the world, that almost stifles our identity at some point in time.
Right.
When a book is written, that in itself is a piece of identity that now forms part of history. When you write a book, it's really and very rarely rescinded, right? So supporting local authors helps us to maintain and improve and increase our identity and to leave that mark in the world that we are Trinidadian authors and we have a story to tell. We have a rich history and those books represent that. So please support local authors. I can tell you personally, it's not a cheap thing to write a book. It's now more accessible, but it takes some sweat and tears. And when you support the author, you're really supporting the continuation of their work.
Absolutely. And beyond selling books, what impact do you hope this event will have on the wider community?
The impact that I expect is that, one, they see Aruka Soul Kitchen as a place where learning is important, and we're also very big on community. I want persons to know that reading is important. Again, it's a life skill, and we need to read with intention and know that there are places and spaces that are there to support you.
Yes, absolutely. And is this intended to be a one-time event, or do you hope to make it into an annual fixture?
My hope is to have it as an annual fixture. Now, there have been some author villages, so I always tell people this isn't compete, it complements.
Right.
As an author, the more opportunities you have to sell the book, the better. Right?
Absolutely.
You're able to get your money directly. You're able to see the people and who read your books, who may have an interest in your book. You get to see them directly. So this is one event that I would want annually to complement all of the other initiatives that we already have. And I hope that it encourages more persons to step up and step out and to push these types of programs. You know, we're hoping, you know, if persons would want to volunteer on the day, we've reached out to a few organizations to help with, you know, giveaways just to make it exciting. So if you all want to support, and I'm speaking to the public, please reach out to us. Our number is 368-5335. And you could follow us on Aruka Soul Kitchen 868 on Instagram.
Absolutely. Now, for that one person or someone out there who hasn't picked up a book in years, what would you say to encourage them to attend the Authors Village and reconnect with reading?
Just come with an open heart, an open mind, come curious, come just to even ask us, the authors, some hard questions. Why is it important to read? Why should I read your book? You know, just come, even if it's to come and buy some popcorn on the day, or to buy a bottle of juice or something to eat. Just come, because you know, when you enter into these spaces, it changes your perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And for that young upcoming authors, you know, looking on and they're seeing you be so passionate about it, and you know, that's the drive they're looking to continue on their own journey. What encouragement or words of advice would you leave with them?
I would say just start. Don't start perfectly. Just write what's been placed in your heart and in your mind. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So just write freely, write unapologetically, and then you reach out to persons who could help you on that publishing journey. You know, I've helped an author write her book in 7 weeks. So the process could happen quickly with support, but the point is the story is yours, and you just write what's placed in your heart, and things would start to flow naturally.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prudence, for coming on this morning and being a part of the conversation.
You are most welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. As I say, it is so important to have passionate persons like yourself, you know, to come about with spaces, initiatives like this, just to, as you said, you know, rekindle that spark, rekindle that flame, because reading does so much. You know, it takes you places, it widens the imagination, it makes you think, it stimulates brain.
Yes.
So it's important that there are spaces like this, there's initiatives like this still going on, and I would love to see this happening annually. So it's something we definitely can follow up on to ensure that, you know, the space is still there, persons feel welcome to come out and read and be a part of the experience.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Guys, we are about to take a short break, but when we come back, we have more engaging conversations, so stay with us.
Trinidad and Tobago, get ready for a musical explosion of freedom, culture, and pure steel band magic.
Featuring 5 of the nation's super bands, plus their talented youth bands.
Get ready for generations of steel.
The ultimate celebration of our national instrument.
Featuring 5 of the nation's super bands, plus their talented youth band.
Experience the power and passion of Desperados,
Shell Invaders,
Massey Trinidad All-Stars,
First Citizens Supernovas,
and the pride of the South, Fun Play. Saturday, July 11th
at the iconic Grandstand, Queen's Park, Savannah.
And hear this one. First 800 tickets sold. Admit 2 buses on 1 ticket if bought by Saturday, June 27th.
Presented by Super Panman, Dingleston and Friends.
Supported by CCNTV 6, The Express Newspaper, and I-95.5 FM.
Generations of Steel, the biggest pan event after Panorama.
This is 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for, it's called loss and damage. And we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region.
Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm not to do with that. I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break a balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put
forever.
Why
you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No.
Let's go to the last part.
Coming soon to WESN.
Pastor J, I want to get a tattoo.
You really
respond to me. Respond to me how you would respond to me.
The first question I'll ask is why.
Controversial taboo topics.
We get so consumed by church, we forget that we have to live the life of being a Christian outside of the Sunday.
Like you say,
services.
we think going to a service makes us a Christian.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So we are about to hear the second time Pastor J wanted to take a tattoo.
Would have been late last year and early this year.
Oh gosh. Hope Unfiltered podcast with Pastor J and Ren. Coming soon to WESN.
Welcome back. Continuing with our Beyond the Headline segment, as Trinidad and Tobago continues its push towards a fully voluntary blood donation system, Seaware International TT is reinforcing the message that giving blood is both life-saving act and a civic duty. Their World Blood Donor Day message comes from amid renewed warnings from Medical Director of the National Blood Transfusion Service, NBTS, Dr. Shivir Mosai, who has stressed that selling of blood is illegal and under close monitoring. The discussion is further highlighted by the recent national blood donation drive at the Couva Children's Hospital, launched with support from former West Indies cricketer Nicholas Pooran and Health Minister Dr. Lakram Budo, as authorities aim to strengthen the country's voluntary donor base and eliminate any form of commercial blood donation. Head of ICNTT, Revan Tilakson, joins us this morning to share more on it. Good morning, Dr. Tilakson. Hi, morning.
Hi, morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm wonderful.
So, can you tell us what does it mean what does it mean to CIWA International TT to focus on the year's World Blood Donor Day message around true patriotism in blood donation?
So for us, this is actually a theme that we have been using for a number of years. So as a volunteer organization, we've been focusing on national issues, whether it is blood donation, whether it is food for the homeless, or shelter, clothes for those who don't have. And all of this is building patriotism itself, right? But blood donation is what really pulls everything together. For us, it's the most patriotic thing that somebody could do. It's giving of yourself and you're giving it to your country. It doesn't matter the recipient age, it doesn't matter their race, their color. Nothing matters except that you are giving of yourself to your country.
Yeah. Now, you've highlighted cases such as thalassemia patients, sickle cell patients, and emergency trauma situations. How severe is the current blood shortage in our country, in your view, of course?
So the actual numbers are, we're collecting just about 19,000, just under 19,000 units. And the need is for 40,000 units. So as you know, that is less than half. What this means is that the thalassemia patients don't get regular blood transfusion. And this is not a today event. This is something that has been happening for decades, right? And we're just really heartened that there's a renewed drive, because it's something that we've been clamoring for, something that we've been pushing personally. These thalassemia patients, these sickle cell patients, when they don't get their blood transfusions on time, what happens is their organs start to deteriorate and they end up in the hospital, costing taxpayers a lot of money, right? Having said that, if they get the regular blood transfusion, it reduces our healthcare bill and they become very good, productive citizens. So many of them that I know have really good jobs. They provide a lot of value to the nation.
Right. Yeah. And what would you say are the most common barriers preventing people in Trinidad and Tobago from donating blood regularly?
So I think the most common barrier will be travel, or if we let's say have some issues regarding surgeries or things like that. But other than that, the biggest thing I think would be miseducation and fear. Right. People believe that it's a very difficult process. People believe that that sometimes, you know, that inconvenience is a little too much for them, or they wouldn't be able to handle the needle stick, or there are misconceptions in terms of, can I give if I have a tattoo? Can I give if I have diabetes? And the reality is you can give in all of those scenarios. It's just you have to make sure that your high blood pressure and your diabetes are controlled. You just have to make sure that your tattoos or your PSNs were 3 months before you're actually going to give. That you're traveling in malaria endemic countries 3 months before you actually give, but you can give.
Wow, yeah. And medical authorities have stated that selling blood is illegal in Trinidad and Tobago. From your understanding, what distinguishes legal voluntary donation from illegal or unethical practices?
So this is a real big question, right? And it's a real important question. So people who give blood to people who they don't know, they are volunteers, right?
Right.
And then there's the chit system where, you know, somebody asks you for blood, you go and give, so you have to get a chit and put it in their name and go and give it to the blood bank. This chit system exists only because we don't have enough blood, right? And what happens is sometimes that because people can't get blood, somebody might need 5 units of blood, or and just understand the scenario. Someone gets in an accident or some issue happens, they need emergency surgery the night, and they're asking you, you need 5 units of blood because we don't have enough in the system. And the trauma that family goes through, they will do anything to save their loved one. So sometimes they go and they pay someone who may not be healthy, who may not lie, who may lie on the screening process because they want the money, and this is illegal, right? It is illegal to pay somebody for blood, and once you give them a big incentive like that, sometimes they lie through the screening process, and they could institute infected blood into the system, right? So that is the biggest problem with and why paying for blood is illegal. But not only that too, on the volunteer side, what the ideal is for us to have enough volunteers, enough people coming forward to provide that 40,000 units of blood. Once we could do that, this chit system will immediately disappear. The doctor will not have to ask the family for a chit, and then surgeries happen regularly. The thalassemia patients will get their blood. If you, me, or anybody, God forbid, getting any problems and we need a unit, our family would have to run around scampering. And all it takes is just 20,000 people given 2 times a year, or 40,000 people given 1 time a year out of a population of 1.4 million.
Wow. Yeah. And how important would you say is public education in ensuring people understand that blood donation must remain voluntary and non-remunerated?
Yeah, so I think the public education is the biggest gap that we have. That's why we're very heartened by the approach that the ministry is taking. For years, we've been seeing constant refurbishment of the blood banks and all of these other things, which is necessary in some cases, but have not added any new blood to the system. In fact, we've been reducing over the years. But now, with our sports ambassadors coming on board, the Nicholas Burans, the Caitlin Sultans, and they understanding and they helping to promote the need for blood donation, we hope that the Ministry of Health also take that approach and push the education aspect of it. That, for us at ICNTT, is the greatest gap. Because as an organization that is built on volunteerism, we know the people of Trinidad and Tobago is very charitable. We have experienced that firsthand. So the gap really is understanding and having that public education, and Trinidad will fill the gap on its own.
Yeah. And what role do public figures and campaigns like, the recent drive at Couva Children's Hospital play in encouraging donor participation?
Yeah, I think we really need to get all our artists, we need a full national campaign like we had the AIDS campaign in the 80s and 90s. If we could get something like this done, this problem will be solved immediately. So we see that the gap is between 19,000 and 40,000, which is 11,000 units, right? Sorry, 21,000 units. It looks like a big number. But all we really need is just 3,300 units every month. And we have more than the capacity in all the blood banks that we have to collect this efficiently. If we could get our sportsmen, our cultural artists and our cultural ambassadors and everybody behind this, if we educate them and let all of these influencers share the knowledge throughout the social media and the traditional media, I think we will achieve it. In fact, ICNTT in 2 weeks' time is having our 3rd annual run for blood donation. This is on the 20th of June, and we are already oversubscribed. We're probably going to close within a day or two. 1,000 people subscribe for the run.
Wow, congratulations, that's really good. So that's a good step towards it. And even to add on, like what needs to change in order to build that more sustainable and even reliable national blood supply system?
First, I think accountability. Dr. Musai from the National Blood Transfusion Service, when he spoke about accountability and tracking all the units, I think once people know that the units are being used properly and are fully accounted for, and they're seeing how people are benefiting from it, they will continue to donate. So if we can reach that point where we could text message someone who gave blood a week after and let them know your blood have been used. You don't need to tell them the name of the patient, but you know your blood have been used for someone who required a cesarean section or somebody who required heart surgery or just emergency surgery. That I think will encourage people to rebook for an appointment 3 months after immediately.
Yeah.
You know, and these are the little innovative steps which I see the Dr. Musa and others are trying to get involved in and trying to put in place, and I think these things will help in solving the issues.
Absolutely. What message would you like to send to citizens who may have never donated blood before but are considering it today?
I would suggest that just go ahead. The nurses are really nice. My wife and I actually just completed 80 units together, 40 units each. And we don't like needles, like everybody else. It's an uncomfortable situation when you go to sit down in a chair and you have to psych up yourself. But the nurses are experts at what they do. They are really nice. You just close your eyes and within a second it's in, and then the process happens within a couple of minutes. You're done. And for that few minutes of inconvenience, you save somebody's life. You actually give people not just hours. For your few minutes of inconvenience, you give people a lifetime.
Wow. Wow. And can you share with us what are some other initiatives that the organization has been up to?
Well, so for Sewa TT, we're starting to prepare, or we have been preparing for natural disasters. So we're going to continue with our community emergency response training. We have a couple of health fairs coming up, possibly one before the end of June. And then we'll have our massive close drive right after Diwali. And in between all of this time, we're going to be trying to procure the resources, manage resources to get new sandbags, to provide the continued upgrades of our mobile units so that when there's a natural disaster, we can respond very quickly.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Tilakson, for joining us this morning and being a part of the conversation. And just to reiterate what you would have said before in terms of that encouragement. So for young people and even first-time donors, you know, how can you encourage them to become regular voluntary donors?
Yeah, I would say just think about the goal, right? The goal is you once you go on that chair, you're gonna save somebody's life, right? Just think about that and go ahead and do it. It's an easy process, and anybody could do it. Once it's 17 years with parental consent or 18 years and over, just go to any one of the blood banks. Just Google or AI, however you search it, Trinidad and Tobago blood banks, and you'll get all the information.
Thank you so much again for joining us this morning for the conversation. It was truly informative, and I hope it did ease so many persons looking on who would have had some misconceptions about giving blood and being able to just do it voluntary. So thank you for coming on and clearing up some of those questions that we would have had.
No problem, and thank you for sharing the information, because we could speak, but people wouldn't hear it unless you share it. So we're very grateful for you and your role in this also.
Absolutely, thank you. Guys, as we wrap up today's show, we hope that every conversation was meaningful and you were able to pull something from it. We thank all our guests for being a part of today's conversation as well. And as I always say to close, stay safe, stay informed, stay positive. Up next, we do have Sean Michael Small at 8 with Talking Points, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Bye.
WESN.
Trinidad